Okay. All right. Now, lastly, gap schemes. Now, I say lastly, this is probably the biggest portion of our offense. Okay. So gap schemes to me help our undersized offensive linemen utilize double teams to get movement. Okay. Works well with all levels of RPO. All right. Main source of our counter game, and pulling guards and tackles allow for interchangeability. So we're going to pull both guard and tackle. Again, with undersized linemen, you like getting them, either they got to run a go at a good player, or you're getting them on smaller players. All right. And this one right here is probably the main play that we're calling for our RPO game. So second and third level RPO. Okay. So the rules here on duo, obviously, play side tackle is always going to work to the play side linebacker in a 4-3 scheme. That's going to be a Mike. All right. And, no matter if the guard's covered, we're always helping the guard. All right. If the guard is uncovered, then the tackle can go a little more vertical. Now, when we first put this in and we didn't run much of it, the rules were way simpler than this. It was all gap down backer. Okay. It was literally gap down backer, gap down backer, gap down backer, gap down backer. And I have a rule that says if you have no immediate threat, all right, in your backside gap, because to me, zone schemes, I have the player in my play side gap. Gap schemes, I have the player in my backside gap. Literally, if I have no player in that gap, then I can go vertical with my footwork, okay, and work to a backside linebacker so that I could get de facto double teams, all right? Now, obviously, because it's a bigger part, we're working, aces and deuces and trays. Obviously, the technique is going to be exactly the same, all right, as far as, our covered technique and our uncovered technique. So right here, we're going to deuce because the guard's covered, all right? That guard is going to take the inside half. I'm going to take the outside half. And because it's duo, we are going to work to the play side linebacker. But we are a vertical push team. Now, with that said, as much as possible, but this is my way of thinking. That defensive lineman, let's say he's 320, okay? And I've got a guard who's 250 and a tackle who's 250, okay? That's still 500 pounds versus 310 or 320, okay? And we have a really good strength program, so we have force multipliers, okay? So, again, I want to get vertical push. We're not trying to just knock that guy over and come up. I want to get hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, and knock him back. I don't care who comes off on the linebacker, okay? As we all know, in duo, the back reads the play side linebacker. He plugs, I bounce. He bounces, I plug, okay? Obviously, the backside will hit every once in a while. Center, I said tackle always works to the play side backer. So if you are working with the play side tackle, play side guard, you're working play side, okay? Center always works to the backside backer. So if you're working with the center, you're always going to work to the backside. So if we have an ace, if the guard was uncovered and was going to ace, he would always work to the backside linebacker, okay? Right here, we have a quad with the tight end and the wing back, okay, where they're going to go. Obviously, that would be the play side linebacker, so the +1, okay, and the tight end's man. Now, like I said, these are the very heavily RPO'd plays. So obviously we're gonna have some RPOs, but I think we have a pretty decent look at some of these. That was a 4th and short. Obviously, it's always good to score a 30-yard touchdown on a 4th and short. But I think we would have definitely picked up the first based on what we were getting. Okay, so again, always have a tight end play side. So, tight end and tackle here because the guard's uncovered, okay? Tight end and tackle are going to do a tray block to the play side linebacker. Okay. We are going to ace to the backside. And right here, all right, we're going to block out. Okay. Anytime we have two, all right, where if we ever had the threat of two off of an edge, we would make a bomb call, which would send him to the widest. Obviously, he would bypass one, go to the second widest. Center would block back to here. Guard would block down here. And now that tray would have to work to that linebacker. Obviously, if they're bringing two off of this edge, he might be involved in it or he might be covering. So most of the time they end up picking him up anyway. But we do make a call for that second guy off of that edge. All right. And I guess they felt like that wasn't necessarily going to come that time. And we got the playoff anyway. Okay, so here we are again. Again, can't, the RPO factor of it cannot be denied. That keeping the box, really good for us. We've got a deuce play side, the motion, whereas some people really don't like this play with motion. I think it's one of those things where we've had pretty good success just because it gets people moving. All right, we're not sitting there blocking a 240-pound linebacker who's salivating to come downhill on us. They're kind of moving around because of the different motions and whatnot. All right, so I know a lot of people. I mean, we're declaring linebackers, and once you've declared a linebacker, you are working to him. Okay, so that does not change no matter where he goes in motion. Okay, now I wanted to include this one because this is a great thing that I wish I had come up with, but I am not smart enough. Okay, so I will try to get that back here. All right, and make sure I get you this end zone. Okay, I'm going to pause it here just to show you. So what we're saying is this is the three high stuff. Okay, and because again, like I said, I don't want to work to a guy that we're necessarily RPOing. Okay, so we are keeping this guy at depth. He is not in the count. Okay, so there is no one technically for this guard to work to. Center is declaring a backside linebacker. He and the guard are working to him on an ace. These two are working here on a tray. This tight end is blocking the number two. All right, 1, 2 right here so that we have the protected run. Okay, so really one of these two guys is extra, but they're going to try to fill him play side. So we stole this from Arkansas. Cody Kennedy, if you ever have a chance to hear him speak, it's really good. So what we do is we're going to turn this into dart push or dart duo. So we're going to take that guard and we're going to block him through this gap because this is a pressure 5 technique anyway. He's trying to run through via the neck of the tackle. Okay, tackle is going to run and block the extra defender that comes over their play side. Okay, so again, I think it's a really good addition. You're RPOing one, the other guy that you can't get, you're making sure that you're pulling for him anyway. Here with this left tackle, it is a little muddy in there, but we end up doing just good enough that the running back can kind of push through for about a 14 or 15 yard gain. Well, maybe not that much, maybe 10, but one can hope. But I thought that was a really good addition, and I thank him for it. So we did use that some versus our 3 high teams.